Good morning, Christian United Methodist Church of Orlando. It is Wednesday, October 27th. It's great to be here with you for our midweek devotional. One day last week, I was reading scripture and came across this passage. And sometimes this happens. You read scripture and you're like, okay, and then you go about your day. And then other times, it seems like a word or a phrase or a verse will stick with you and will stay with you. And that's what happened to me last week. And for the last several days, I've just kept coming back to this particular verse in scripture and wanted to share that with you today. So from Psalm 37, verse 3, here are these words. Trust the Lord and do good. Live in the land and farm faithfulness. That's it. One simple verse. And yet it has stuck with me. So I kind of think it's a little funny that this verse sticks with me. I'm not a gardener. I like eating food, and I appreciate farmers and people who grow the food that we eat. But that's not something I do. That's not an experience that I have. Growing up, we had orange trees in our backyard, and so we grew those oranges, and they were picked and sent off to be juiced, but it wasn't like we were eating all of the crops that my family had grown. I didn't grow up on that kind of farm and have that kind of experience. We know that the Israelites, the people that lived in the Bible, they were an agricultural society. They lived off the land. They grew what they ate, and if they had leftovers, they were able to sell that perhaps and get anything else that they may have needed. So they were closely tied to the land. So this instruction to live in the land and farm faithfulness, that made sense to them. They're like, yep, we got to live in the land and we're farmers. And so as they grew their crops, as they grew food, they were also instructed in this passage to grow, to cultivate, to farm faithfulness, to plant faithfulness, to tend to it, to watch it grow, to cultivate it, and to allow it to grow and to expand and to multiply in their lives. So I think it is a little bit funny that this verse has stuck out to me because I don't have that experience. But I think maybe that's why this verse was sticking out to me, because it was an invitation. It's been an invitation for me these last few weeks. Well, I guess days since last week, these last few days, to think about, how am I living in this land? I'm in my backyard. So how am I living in my house, in my neighborhood, in this particular place that I call home? How am I living in Orlando? How am I living at First United Methodist Church of Orlando? All of the places that I call home, that are places where I live. Am I really paying attention to those places? Am I paying attention to the people who are there? Am I listening to understand? Or am I just going about my to-do list and my agenda? Are my eyes open to see people, to see the world around me in these various places where I call home? Am I open to new insights and new ideas based on what I see and what I hear and who I encounter? And then farming faithfulness. I think each of us has the opportunity to cultivate faithfulness in our lives, to plant it deep within our souls, to plant it in our practices. Perhaps faithfulness is being faithful in prayer, so starting a daily practice of praying. Perhaps faithfulness looks like being silent and taking 5 minutes to be silent and to be still, to listen to God's voice. Perhaps faithfulness looks like taking a breath and maybe counting to 10 before speaking, so that we can be more faithful, more patient, more loving in our words and in our responses to other people. Maybe faithfulness looks like listening to others, listening to understand more than listening to respond, to have an answer to somebody, but to just really listen and to take in what somebody else has shared with us. So over these last few days, I've been thinking about each day, how am I living in this land? And how am I farming faithfulness? How am I cultivating faithfulness in my life? And I encourage you today to take a moment. Maybe you want to go sit outside and enjoy the land where you live, to give thanks for this cooler weather, for the fall weather that's coming later this week, to give thanks for the beautiful place we get to call home. And then to also think about, what are you cultivating? Are you cultivating faithfulness in your life and in your relationships? And if so, how? And perhaps maybe there's ways that you can grow in that, and deepen and expand your faithfulness. Friends, you are loved. It is a joy to be one of your pastors. It's a joy to be in ministry with you. I hope you'll join us this weekend for either Tents and Treats on Friday night with children and families. We have a service day on Saturday. We have one worship service at 10:30 on Sunday, followed by a lunch. These are all opportunities to connect and reconnect in ministry and in relationship with each other. Perhaps these are opportunities for you to farm faithfulness. And whatever you may be doing, I hope that you are seeking ways that you can seek and love God and love and serve people. You are loved. Have a great day.